Hello everyone, welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful tutorial, we're trying to see how to build a very simple data science app with Streamlit. So Streamlit is a very nice framework that allows you to be able to build ML tools with ease and with beauty. This is so awesome. So let's see what we'll be building. We're building a common ML dataset explorer, which is a simple ED app that explores all the various common dataset that we use when you're trying to learn data science as well as when you're trying to learn machine learning. So let's see what I mean. So you can just select the various dataset. We have the auto for the cars dataset. We have one for the health dataset. We have air passengers dataset. We have US arrest. We have glaucoma. We have debit card. We have breast cancer. We have diamonds. We have iris. We have the famous iris and the famous PIMA dataset. So all of these things are available. So let's go with the iris dataset, which is common, or let's choose something different. So we'll be using something like the US arrest, right? This is a very common dataset that we use. Then I can go with show dataset. Then from here, we can select the particular row. So this is a very nice feature that came from the version 0.49 and upwards, which is a very nice feature. So I can just select the particular number of rows I want to view, which is 5. Very interesting. So we have the meta, the assault, urban rape, and then the state. Very interesting. So I can also show the column names. You want to show me all the various column names. Very nice feature. Okay, so we can also search for the shape, which is going to give us the shape, and you can select by the rows just like in the previous tutorial. Then you can also do another one for the selection of the columns to show. So this is how to do that. So this is very nice. So I can select the various columns. So in case I want to check for only meta column, it's going to give me the meta column. I can also add another stuff like, let's say, urban pop. Perfect. I can also add another column like, let's say, state. Very interesting, right? Very simple and very nice. And then we can also go for the data types to check for the various data types for our data set. Very nice. Now let's see some other stuff you can also do. These are the basic EDA stuff. You can also do the value counts for all of the data sets and all the various columns inside our data set. Then we can also do a summary, the famous simple summary of the entire data set, which is this one. Okay, so let's see some visualizations. So in doing visualization, there are several forms. We can just do the normal matplotlib, or you can also do the seaborn plot, which is with annotation showing the correlation between the various features. Perfect. We can also do another plot like something totally different. I can also do a plot for the value count. We can select the particular column that you want to group by. So let's say we want to group by state, right? And then we are going to select the other column. So state, assault, then by meta, right? So you can just plot it. It's going to generate a plot comparing the state and then assault and meta for us as a value plot. Perfect. Wow. See how it has done. So this is a bad plot, but you refactor them later. Okay, that is something nice. Then we can also move on to doing some interesting stuff like, let's check something different. You can also do another plot for a pie chart, right? So I can do another pie chart plot, and I can generate a pie chart plot using the state. Perfect. So this is a pie chart plot for the state, right? It's not that nice, but at least it's better. This is based on the data set that's at hand. Okay. So finally, we can also do another stuff like we can also check for some other interesting customizable plot. You can do the bar H plot, which going to tell us to choose the S column and then choose the Y column. So we're using this one as our S column, right? And then we also choose another one for our Y column, right? So it's giving us an error because some of the columns have names and stuff. So let's choose something different. So assault. Then let's choose this one for, let's say, state, right? So we can just generate plot, and it's giving us no numerical data. So this one must be a numerical data. So let's choose something like assault. No, let's choose urban pop, right? Population. Very nice. So now we can generate a plot. So it's going to generate a plot using assault and then an urban population for us. Perfect. So that's the plot that's given to us. Very interesting and very nice. You can just refactor them, but this is just an MVP. So you can also do some customizable plot. So for the customizable plot, you can select a particular kind of plot. We have area, we have bar, we have line, we have histogram, we have box, we have KDE. So let's choose something like area plot. Then I'll select the particular columns I want to move on. So this is particular. So we have this meta, and then urban, and then let's do another one for the state. Right, so let's see whether we're able to generate a good plot. So you're generating the customizable plot of area for meta, urban, and then state. So this is how it's going to be, right? So it's a very nice and simple stuff that you can do. So you can do a lot of plots. Perfect. So that is for the plot. See that it's very nice, it's very responsive. You can go zoom in, zoom up. Wow, that is so cool. Okay, now let's move on to some other plots. I can also change the plot to, let's do something like, let's say a histogram. With the same stuff, generate a plot, then it's going to generate a histogram plot for this that you have selected. Perfect. So that is a histogram plot. So that is something cool we can also do. Now let's move on to the features. You can also show features. So you can just show the various features. This is for the machine learning aspect. Perfect. And then somebody was asking of how to download something, right? So one of the ways of downloading is that you can just create a link with markdown, then put inside a zip format. So if I do it like this and I click on save link as, I'll be able to download the particular stuff, right? So they're just showing it to me as zip, and now I can actually download it perfectly. That is the basic idea of how to do that. So we'll be learning about all of these things. So downloading it is failed, but it's a better way of doing it. So for now, that's one of the ways you can do to select, right? So let's see how to build this wonderful app in this particular tutorial. Okay, so let's start with it. I'm just going to position everything as expected, then you start building perfectly. So let's stop our current instance. I'm going to stop this one, exit, right, so that we have a fresh start. So we're starting from beginning. So I'm just going to go to my GitHub, then I'll create a folder, a GitHub repository to do everything, right? To be doing a systematic so that you can deploy it. So I'm just going to call it as common ML datasets. Going to be common ML datasets explorer app, right? Something like this. So that is perfect. It's there working as expected. So yep, that is cool. Perfect. Now we are done. We'll do everything later, right? Perfect. So that is it. So let's go back. I'm going to go back, and then if you go back to our seat, for the seat repository, you're going to see it as the first one. Then I'm just going to clone this one, right? Because we not create a readme, but you're going to create a readme later. So I'm just going to copy this particular link, right? Then we add a readme and all of these things to it. So let's go into my GitHub, then git clone. So it's going to clone into that. Perfect. Then let's seed into our common ML dataset. There's nothing here. Perfect. So the first thing we need to do is to create an app.py file. Then we need to make a directory for our datasets, right? Perfect. These are the basic stuff that we need. So if I go back to this, now I can see tree. Perfect. So I have my app and I have my dataset. These are the basic stuff we'll be starting with. So we also need to create a readme file. So touch.readme.md file. So that if I go back to tree, now I have my app, my dataset, and then my readme file. Perfect. So let's start building. So I'm just going to come here and open my repository. My repository. Open this here. Perfect. So let's start building. So the most important thing we need is you need to have Streamlit installed. So in case you don't have Streamlit installed, you can just go with pip install Streamlit, and this is going to give you the current version of 0.49 as of today, which is a very interesting framework, right, with some cool features. So let's start with it. So I'm just going to import Streamlit inside my app.file, right? That's what we're working with. So I opened the wrong folder. Close without saving. here. So let's close this one, and then let's open our particular folder, which is going to be here. So I'm just going to open this again, come back to where my folder was, which is this one, right? A lot of stuff. So let's start. So first of all, from on our app.py, there's nothing there, so we're just going to import our core packages. So import os, then import Streamlit as st. That is all we need. This is where the magic happens, right? That's the basic stuff. Then we need our EDA apps, EDA packages, which we'll be using pandas. So import pandas as pd. Then we also need some virtualization packages. So let's call it as vis packages, which is going to be matplotlib. So import matplotlib.py plot as plt for our plotting. Then we use import matplotlib itself, matplotlib. Then you use this particular format, so matplotlib.use. Then we'll be using the AAG. The reason we are using AAG is that with the AAG, it's going to help us and keep us from having some errors. That's the basic idea of using the AAG, right? But I'm sure that in the upcoming versions, we will not need to be using this particular format of the AAG, right, or TAG for the tick enter that you are using. So it's going to be our use AAG, perfect, to help us to prevent errors when you are trying to plot. These are the basic stuff. Then we also need to import cborn. So cborn as SNS. So this is what we're using for our visualization. Now let's move on to some interesting stuff you can also do. So first of all, let's create our app. So it's going to be dev main. This is where our app is going to be. I'm going to call it as a common ML dataset explorer. Perfect. So let's start with this. So let's pass. So st.header, or let's give the title. It's going to be common ML dataset explorer with Streamlit, right? Very interesting. st.sub header going to be ML, or let's call that simple data science explorer with Streamlit. Streamlit is so cool. The iPhone of ML apps. Okay, perfect. So that is the basic idea. Then the next thing we need is to bring our if main. So if main, perfect. So let's run our app and see what we have done so far. So let's check and see what we have. So I'm just going to go with Streamlit, run, then my app. So this is version 0.449. Very interesting. So let me reduce this one so that you see that it's running. So let's go back to this. Right, perfect. So it's running. So on this particular port, so the port has been opened perfectly for us. So let's use Chrome because Chrome is cool. So we'll be using Chrome. Perfect. So our app is running without any errors. Voila, right? Very, very nice. So common ML dataset explorer. Perfect. So somebody was also asking of how to add colors, right? So this is another way you can add colors, but it's not recommended because we are using HTML. So we can use HTML, right, inside to generate colors. So let's try that one. So it's going to be this, right? And then from here you can just put your HTML stuff. So let's give it something like div style. Right, this is a normal way of doing HTML stuff, but like div. Then from here I can place in my color. So let's give it as background color. Background color. Then let's use tomato. Tomato is the color. Okay. Perfect. So we have done with the color. So you can just put in something like p tag. Then here you can just say Streamlit is awesome, right? Then we close it. So we are done with our stuff. So let's expand it so that you see what I've done so far. Perfect. So we have our HTML stuff, right? This is for the HTML. So in case we want to make sure that it brings the color, you can use this particular format, but it's not recommended. So how do you do that? It's going to be st.markdown. Then from here, we're going to pass in our value. Then we're going to give it the next argument of unsafe, allow HTML. This is very good that Streamlit team is making sure that this is not allowed, because with this you can do a lot of hacks, you can do a lot of exploitation. So it's not recommended. You can even bring a folder or a form inside this. So let's run it again. Well, I see that now we have the color there, right? So we need to add some colors to it. Very interesting. So you can even add colors to the form itself. You can add colors here. So let's add something like, let's say another style, and then the color for the text, let's make it white. So white, perfect. So something like this. And we can even add stuff like font size, or even change the font size if you want. So font size, let's go to, let's make it something totally different. So let's give it as 50, right, pixels. If I save it now and I come back and I run it, let's keep on always running. So the has changed. So that is how to add colors, right, to it, in case you are thinking about how to add colors to it. Perfect. But it's not the recommended way, because it is not that safe, right? You can do a lot of things. You can even add a folder, whole form here, which is not the best. Okay, now let's move on to some other stuff you can also do. So we need to start working on how to select all our files. So first of all, let's go to our folder, which is here. And we have our dataset, right? So there's nothing here, so we need to copy our dataset. So I'll just copy my dataset from wherever I place my dataset, which was here. So I'm just going to copy this same thing here and replace it here, right? So let's replace, yep, perfect. So I have all my dataset here, right? Perfect. They are all in CSV file. So how do I select these datasets? So one of the ways of selecting the dataset is that it's a very nice feature that one of the founders of Streamlit invented. Very nice. So we're going to create a file selector. It's so cool. I never thought of that, but I'm sure that in the coming future they'll be adding the ability to upload files. So this is one way of using to upload. So it's going to be folder. You can just give it any stuff. So folder path is equal to the particular location. So this can be the current location. So if I do it with this current location, now it's going to select that current location and pick any file there, right? So let's go with the file names. Let's go to os.list. That's our important list directory. You can use also paths if you want. We're going to pass in our folder path. Perfect. So that's going to give us the file name. Then now we can do selected files, file name, right? Then st.select box. Then we're going to pass in a select a file. Then the next thing is going to be the file names. So file names. Perfect. So that is all. So this is going to be a list format. Then we're going to pass in our list to allow us to do whatever we want to do. That is the basic idea. I don't know whether you can see it. Let me expand it. Then reduce this. Okay, perfect. So that is the basic idea about what you have done so far. Now we have our format of selecting our file. Then finally we're going to return our os.path.join, then our folder, then our selected file. Perfect. That is something very nice. With this particular function, you can be able to select files. So let's try it and see. So just go to file name, not file names, like file name single, then we select file selector. File selector function. So if I go with this and I run it back again, and now you give it the option of selecting a file. Now it's even selected the app itself. So let's place in some data here. So I'm just going to place in some normal data, and here you can actually add some mini stuff to be specific to select stuff. So if I do this now, you see that I can select the various files there. You have gate, you have database, and all of these things. Very interesting, right? That is a basic idea about it. So let's see how to do that, right? So we have our data set, all of them here. So instead of selecting it, we are putting all of them in one particular place to make it more nicer, which is going to be the best way, right? So that we don't pick the file itself. So let's see how to do that. So we're going to place in here as dash dataset, which is referring to that folder, right? So now if I go back to this and I refresh it, now it is picking everything inside, right? So that's one way of doing a little bit like file upload, but this is like file selector. Very, very interesting. So you can just pick any of the data sets and it's going to work. Perfect. So that is the basic idea. Now we need to be able to show the person that we have actually selected a file. So it's going to be, so you selected, then the name of the file, right? So we can just use the normal string or a string if you want, then the file name. So perfect. Now if I go to this, so see that now it's showing here, right? So let's pick this, then you selected this particular file, but let's make this one beautiful. Let's add some color to it. So let's use info so that the person at least, perfect, right? So this is at least better. Let me reduce this because this is disturbing our beautification. Okay, nice. So that is the basic idea. Now let's see how to work with it. So this is the basic aspect of it. Now we have to move on to the other aspect. So we have to first read our dataset. Then from here we'll be doing some other stuff. So read data, then we'll do show data, then we'll show columns, then we'll show data, show shape, then we come to show value count, then we can also select various columns. So all of these things are part of EDA stuff. Then we do, let's say, show summary, then we move on to our plotting stuff. So this is going to be our plots and then visualization, right? These are the stuff we'll be doing. So let's see the first one. So in reading our file, this is going to be df.pd.read underscore csv. Then I'm going to pass in the file name, right? The file name that you selected. Perfect. So that's the basic stuff. Now let's show our data set. So how do we show our data set? So we can just use the if.st check box. Then I'm going to pass in the particular stuff. So show data set. Then from here I can just do a preview. So let's use the new feature of the number, which is very nice. So be using number, then st.number. Then the st.number has this option of having an upper limit and a lower limit, right? So you can just go in this format. So let's say number of rows to view. Then the next argument can be the upper limit or the lower limit, right? So let's give it like, if I put it like 5, then the next is going to be the upper limit, so 100 or 10. If I go with this particular option, it's running, refreshing. So now it's showing show data set. Then it's giving us the option of selecting, so that it's starting from 5, just as we had here. From here we had 5 and 10, right? So we can only go 5, then stop. You can't move again. That's a very nice feature. So it can be used to do some interesting stuff, right? You can't move beyond it because the upper limit was 5 and then the lower limit was 5. That is very interesting. And because we do not know our data set, so we're going to leave this one out, right? Something very cool. Wow, that is so nice. That's so nice. So let's see what you can do. So we're going to leave it. So in case you leave it, you can also go as far as you want, even to negative, which is very, very nice. Some very, very powerful feature. Okay, so let's see that. So we're going to do our data frame. Then we're going to pass in our df.head, then the number that we are getting. So now I can actually see it. So if I come back here, I can select a particular number. So let's select, let's say, can I even do it like this also, and it's also going to work. Then enter. So it's going to print out for us. Very, very cool. Wow, that is so cool. That is so nice. Okay, that is one aspect for showing our data set. Now let's move on to the next aspect of showing the columns. So you can just do that one as a button. So let's give it as if st.button, so that we don't always have a checkbox. So column names, right? This is going to be our column names. Then we can just do st.write, then df.columns, perfect, .columns, so that to give us the column names. So it's going to refresh, and it's going to give us our result as expected. Perfect. So now if I click on this, it's going to show me my column names. Column 1, column 2, column 3, all of them perfectly. Right, that is interesting. Now let's move on to how to show our shape of our data set. So we use an if. So if st.checkbox, using checkbox for now, then let's call it as shape of dataset Then from here, just going to do some interesting stuff. So let's go with s.write to give us the basic data so shape, the basic shape, perfect. Then we can also use the radio button. So let's go data dimension. It's going to give us as st.radio in case we want to get only the rows. So let's say show rows or show dimension by whatever thing you want to do, then supply our value. So it's going to be by rows or by columns. Right, something very basic. Perfect. So everything is working as expected. Now we can just move on to the next option of, I don't know whether you can see, it's becoming smaller. Let's make it big. Right, perfect. So now we have it here, and here I can do the normal if condition. So if our data dimension is equal to columns, then do st.test, then let's call it as showing or number of columns. So number of columns, then st.write, df.shape, the first value, right? The columns are the last value, 1, right? Then in case you want to get the number of rows, you also do the same thing. So else if data, you can just copy this ones. Let's copy this because the same thing, that you save time. So this is going to be for the rows, because rows can be 4 columns. Rows, so number of rows, then this will be 0. Perfect. So that's the basic idea, right? Then we can just place in the else if. So else st.write, df.shape. Perfect. So that's the basic idea. So in case the person doesn't select any of them, we can still see it, right? So it's going to be else if. So we can just take off this, so that at the beginning you just see this one already. So let's see what we have built so far. So if I go with show shape, perfect, is showing dimension. This is it. Wow, that's a lot. Then I can select, then it's going to give me the number of columns only, right? Perfect. And then the number of rows only. Perfect. So we are done. Everything is working as expected. Okay, I think here, this is row. See how we made a mistake. Okay, perfect. So that is something interesting. Now let's move on to some other stuff you can also do. We are done with our shape. Now let's move on to selecting, right, our columns. Then before we go to our, so this before, so this is going to be the next one. So this is going to be how to select our columns. So it's going to be if st.checkbox. The reason we are using checkbox, I think the checkbox is very interesting. It allows you to be able to hook so that it doesn't disturb your other stuff, right? Columns to show. So in case I want to show some columns, so select column to show, then I can just put in all my columns. Let's go to df.columns.toList. Perfect. I'm converting all my columns to list. Then I'll do selected columns is equal to my st.multi-select. The multi-select is very cool. Then select, right? Then I'll give it my all columns, the one I converted to a list. Perfect. So that is the basic idea. Now if I go back to df dot, let's create something. So new df for the new data frame, then df to bracket our selected columns, not our selected file name but our selected columns. Then we can just st.dataframe, then our new data frame. So let's see what we have done so far. So what we are doing is that we are just selecting, converting all our columns, no matter the particular dataset. Every dataset will have columns. We are converting them to list, then we are selecting them. So let's see what we have done. So if I go with select columns to show, it is going to give me the option of selecting a column. So this is show an option, so I can just select all the various ones, so that I'm selecting different ones. Perfect. And the moment I select, it's going to show the particular data here, which is very, very interesting, right? So it's showing it. So surprised it's not showing. Anyway, to show, let's choose something different. Let's use a different data set. So I'm just going to go to the top, and then we're going to choose something interesting, a different data set. So let's use the breast cancer Wisconsin data set. So running is going to change. Perfect. So now everything has changed automatically. Now you have all the columns, so you can even show all the column names, and it's automatic for every kind of data set, right? So that's what you're trying to build, so that anybody that is starting with machine learning can be able to explore the various data set. So I can select columns to show. I'll choose one, which is going to be cell size. Then let's choose another one. So let's go again. So we have shape, that is showing it here. Then I can also choose another one for, let's say, whether it is malignant or not, the class. So from here you can even compare that anyone that is having shape 1 is class, is the class is 0, right? So that is something very interesting you can also do. So we are done with how to select our columns. Now let's see how to work with our data types as well as our value count. So let's do that one. Very simple. So it's going to be something very simple. So if st.checkbox, let's use buttons for these ones, right? So button, then we can just go with value count, which is going to be our st.test. Then let's go to the value counts by this is by default by our target or by our class, the last value. Then it's going to be st.write, and bring it up, st.write df. So in case you are not subscribed to this channel, and you like the content, you can also show by liking the button and then subscribing. Okay, so ilog, with this particular format, we will be able to make sure that you are selecting the last class, and in most of these data sets, the last column is always the class or the data target, right? So that's why we are using this particular ilog format. So the last but one, or the last one, that's what you are selecting perfectly. Then dot value count. So perfect. Let's see what you have done so far, whether it's going to work. So let's go off with this. We don't need this one anymore. So if I go with value count now, so now it's showing the value count. So this is going to be automatic for every one of them. Very interesting. Now let's see the next one for another button for, let's see data. This for the value count. And with this, we can even plot, right? You can also do some plots with this. So we can just do something like this. You add that one, but let's make this one for our data types. So show data types. So this is going to be for our data types. We don't need to say that. So data types. You have to know the data types. Data type is not by class. Perfect. Then from here, you can just take off this and then put in our D types. So this one goes off. Perfect. So now we can see that our data type is going to show us our various data types. So data type is going to be this. We don't need this one because it's already showing the pattern. Ni nada in Russian. Okay. Perfect. So that is the basic stuff we have done with all of this. Now let's add a summary. So the summary, we can also use a button or we can use a checkbox. So let's go with if st dot checkbox. Then let's go with summary, right? Summary of our data set, which is going to be our st dot write. You can use data frame if you want dot describe. This is perfect. So now I can just go with this show summary. Perfect. And you can even transpose it in case you want to transpose. It's going to be the same thing dot t. We're going to transpose the entire stuff, turn it upside down, right? So now we have our count and our mean, which is another way of doing it, right? Very interesting. So any of them as you wish. Okay, so that is the basic idea about the summary and then the rest. Now let's move on to the plotting. So be very fast here because of the time. It's going to be our plot. So st dot subheader is going to be our data visualization, right? Perfect. So now let's see the first plot we'll be doing. So in a plot we will do correlation plot, which we did in the previous tutorial. Then we also do another one for seaborne plot, still correlation. Then later we'll move on to our count plots or value count plot, like our count plot. Then we will do another customizable plot for pie charts. So that's going to be our pie charts. Then we do our customizable plot. So customizable. These are the plots that you can select. So perfect. So that's the basic idea. So since we did these ones in the previous tutorial, these two ones in the previous tutorial, let's move to the customizable plot so that you can learn something and then we move on. So the first one is going to be our st dot sub header, and I'm going to call it as customizable plot, right? So it's going to be the name that will be given to the customizable plot. Then we're going to put in all our columns by names. It's going to be our df.columns.toList. We have all our columns as a list. Then we can select the type of plots. So type of plots you want to do. So type of plot is going to be st.select box. So we can have another plot of, so let's say select type of plot. Then I'm going to give you the option. So the options are for the type of plot is going to be, we have our bar chart. First of all, let's go with alphabetical order. We have area chart. Let me expand it. Area chart. Then we have also our bar chart. Then we have our which chart again do we have? We have our line chart. These are the ones that comes by default with Streamlit. Then we also have our histogram. Then we have our box plots. Then we can also add our KDE plots. So KDE plots. So these are the basic plots we'll be doing. Perfect. So we have our plots. So the next thing after the plot is that we need to be able to select the column. So let's call that select column. So let's call it selected column names, right? Then I'm going to pass in st.multi-select. We're using multi-select to select a particular column. So select columns, because this is a customizable one, to plots. Then I pass in my all columns name. Perfect. Right, so that's the basic idea. Now let's see what you have done so far. So I'll save it and then let's come back here. So you see that if I come back to my customizable plot, I have area. I have area plot, bar plot, line plot, and all of these things. Line plot. Then I can also select columns to plot. So I can just select thickness, select bar nuclei, and then select, let's say, class, right? So that's the basic idea about it. Very, very interesting, very simple. Now let's see how to generate our plot. Since we have our type and then we have our particular column that you want to do, you can use the normal if conditions to do that. So let's create a button. So if st.button, then we're going to give it like generate plot, right? So that at least after entering our plot, we can click on a button for it to generate. So that's success. Then we're going to call it as generating customizable plot. So customizable plot of the particular stuff for another stuff, right? So this is going to, the first one is going to be for the particular plot. So this will be for the type of plot, and then this will be for the column selected, right? So dot format, you can use a string if you want. Then I'm going to put in my type of plot, then my selected column, not selected file but selected column names. Perfect. So we have our success. This is success. There's supposed to be double S. Perfect. So that's the basic idea about the plot. Now let's move on to the plots by Streamlit. This is default. So the first plot is going to be if our type of plot is equal to area, then create a custom data. So the custom data is going to be our df, then the selected stuff we had, selected column names. Then we are just going to plot it to st.area charts, which is so cool. Then we're going to pass in our data set, our custom data. So let's see what we have done so far. So right now I'm going to select our area plots with this, then I'll click on generate, then it's going to generate an area plot. So generating customizable plot of area. So loading, voila, right? So that's going to generate an area plot, which is very interesting, by the way. See how I spell generating? So I forgot the G. Okay, nice. So the next stuff is that we need to also create another one. So else if, so you can also do the same thing. Let's copy this one because it's going to be the same thing. So this is going to be for our line plot, then this is going to be for our other plot. So now we have one for, so here else if, so this is going to be for our, realize that we had area, we have bar, we have line, right? So one will be for bar, and then Streamlit already has a bar plot, a bar chart, right? So we use that one. Then the same thing for the line chart. Streamlit has its own line chart which you can use. Perfect. So we have been able to do with all of these things. Then the final one is that we'll be using our normal custom plot, right? So we have our bar, area, and then line chart. So let's work on the other custom plot. So these ones I'm going to call it as custom plot by custom plot. This is not by Streamlit, this is by Matplotlib, Seaborn, and all of that, those stuff. So here we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to paste it here. That's get a data set, then plot. We are using pandas plot. The kind is equal to the particular stuff that you want to do. So let me open it. The kind is equal to our particular type, right? Type of plot. That's the basic idea behind this. So we do the same thing. This is it. So from here, now we're going to select our stuff here. Then we're going to use st.write. Then our custom data, you can just call it custom plots. Then st.py plot. This is not data, this is a plot. So let's call it as plot here. Right, perfect. So that is the basic idea about it. So let's see what we have done so far. So I'm going to select, this is not going to be area, this is going to be the particular kind of plot that we have. So let's call it as boss. boss plot, right? So that is one way of doing it. So we can actually make it like this, boss plot. So this, right, you can just say if type of plot is true, or you can just make it like this, if type of plot, or if the particular name is in type of plot, or anyhow you want to do it, you can just put it straight away to this, then to automatically generate the plot. So you can just make it like this, so something like this without anything. So let's see how it's going to be. So I'm going to choose histogram, then let's generate plots. So generating histogram plots. So now it has generated histogram plots, right? This is a very simple code. So another one we can also do is that we can just select something like this. Let's choose KDE, then let's generate the plots. Perfect. So it has generated KDE plot with this simple code. You're able to do a lot, right? So we are just saying that if there's a type of plot and it's neither area bar or line, right? Area bar or line, then is histogram boss KDE, just apply it here. But you can be more specific and then specify that if the type of plot is equal to boss, select this, that is one way you can also do that, right? But you can just leave it like that and it's still going to work. So we are done with our plots. So let's add another plot for our pie plot, right? Our pie chart. So let's see that one. So it's going to be very simple. So I'm going to bring it to the top here. This is going to be our pie chart. So for the pie chart, you can also do something simple. It's going to be if st.check boss, then let's call it as pie plot, right? That is some interesting plots we can do. And then how do we do that? So we can just use the same approach that we did. You can just have the column names here. Then the next thing we need to do is that we need to select the particular button to generate. So you can just use the same thing, so generating button. Right, the same stuff we had. Perfect. Then you can just plot. So the simplest way of plotting to make our plot interesting is that we can actually do this. So let me bring it here. Then let's take off this because we don't need most of these things. Don't need all of this. We need to tell that you are generating a plot. Generating a pie plot, right? Generating a pie plot. Something very simple, right? That is the basic idea behind it. Now, let's see what we'll be doing. So we can just do st.write. Then we can just go with df.ilog. Then we'll be using the last value, right? So let's use the last value. So this, that is the target value, to do our value.count. Then we use that one to plot.py. Then we can just put the auto pct, auto percentage. Then we can just put in our values. So the auto percentage is going to automatically give us a percentage of our plot. So it's going to be with this particular format, 1.1f. Perfect. Right? That's the basic idea about it. So let's see what we have done so far. So st.py plot. Let's see whether it will be able to plot for us. So this is going to be our pie plot. Let's see. So generate plot. So generating a pie plot. Wow, this is very nice, right? So we have been able to do a very nice plot based on the class. This is only for the class. Very, very interesting and very nice. So that is the basic idea about it. Now we can do the other ones that you can do for the seaborn, can do for the rest. So let's see how to do those simple plots for the seaborn, which we did in a previous tutorial. So let's see that one. So in the previous one we did something very interesting. I don't know whether I should move on, but let's do that simple plot. It's going to be if.st.checkbox. Then I'm going to go call it as a correlation plot. Then let's place it as seaborn, right? So that at least a person will know that he's plotting by seaborn. Then we're just going to go with st.write. Then we're going to pass in our sns.heatmap, which is very important, and df.correlation. Then annote is equal to true. So annote is equal to true. I can't spell true. That is the basic idea. Then we're going to st.py plot. Perfect. That is going to give us for our seaborn correlation plot, right? So if I come back here, let's see here. So generating a plot. Perfect, right? It's giving us a plot. It's giving us an error somewhere that there are some button errors. So this is checkbox correlation plot, py plots, generate plots. Okay, so let's change this one to generate py plots. Right, perfect. So that at least doesn't give us that error at the back here. Perfect, everything is perfect. Very interesting. So we have our correlation plot. Now let's see one last plot you can do. You can also make a customizable count plot, right, based on a plot. So let's try that one. So let's give it as the last plot, which is going to be our count plot. Let's put it at the top here or down. I'm going to call it our customizable count plot, which is going to be an if st.checkbox. You can just place in our customizable plot, right? So plot of value count. So this, you're going to select the particular column that you want to do. So let's call it as st.test by, so value count by target, right? Or class. Then you can just do the same thing that we did. So we're going to have a primary, a secondary. So let's call it as all columns, which is this one. So I can just copy this one. So we can make this one global, right? All of these things we can refactor the code at the end, but this is just off edge. So let's go straight away. Later when we refactor everything, then primary column, we select a primary column, which is going to be st.select box. I'm going to pass in, say, primary column to, let me expand it, primary column to plots or to group by, right? So this is going to be like a group by, right? Then I'm going to pass in all our columns. Perfect. That's the first one. Then we can also have our selected columns. So selected columns name. Then I can also do the same thing, st.multi-select. Now pass in select columns. I pass in all my column names. Perfect. These are the basic stuff. Now I can also generate another plot. So if our st.button is going to generate, or let's call this plot, so that the buttons have different ID. Then st.test, so generating plot, let's make it something like that, generating plot. Then if selected column names, then do this particular plot. So let's go to our value count plot is equal to df.group by, here I spell the group by the primary column selected. Then we're going to give it our selected column names. Then you can just do the dot count. So this dot count. Perfect. Right, so that's something very interesting you can do. Then you can also do the next one for else. So else for any other stuff, which is going to be vc plot df dot ilog for every other stuff, which is going to be -1. That is the class. dot value count. Then we can just do our final st dot write our vc plot. The kind is going to be bar, right? Dot plot. Then the kind is bar. So we're going to use a bar chart to do our plots. So that's the basic idea. Then st.py plot. Voila. So we are done with our app. Let's see our app in progress. Wow, we have taken so much time in trying to design this stuff. Very interesting. So just plots of value counts. So from here, I can actually select a particular value count to select a primary. So let's use the class, right? You are grouping by class. Then we're going to choose everything. So I want to by this size, by thickness, by mitosis. Then I can just click on the plot. It's going to generate our wonderful plot for us. So generating the plots, so it's giving us some error. We forgot the forgot that function. And you see how nice Streamlit is. Even if you forget something, it's able to give you the help, which is very, very interesting. Not just the error, but at least the help, that in case you omit something. So let's do the plot again, which is referring to this particular plot, right? So subplot, wow, this is very nice. So now you see have our plot for class 0 and class 1. Very, very interesting. So that is a basic idea about the app that we have built. So we can add more stuff to it. So let's recap. So in short, the basic idea is that we're going to import our Streamlit stuff and all our available packages. Then we're going to create a main function which is going to have our head and table, right? Our title and the subhead, which is this one. Then you can also have our HTML stuff for the markdown in case you want to add some color and some beautification to it. Then in case you want to select a file or the files, this is a very nice function that's the creator of Streamlit proposed. Very interesting. It's very interesting. It makes sense. It's very, very wise. And then you also have this, so you can use this one to select any kind of file, right? Just like a file selector. Very interesting, very nice. But I'm sure that in the coming future they'll be adding this file selector by default. Okay, then we also have going to read our dataset, then we're going to show our dataset, our columns. These are all basic stuff you can do. Then the same thing for selecting multiple columns like this. So in case I want to select different multiple columns, I can also do that. And this was a number feature that was introduced recently in a new one, which is a very nice feature also, right? Perfect. You can use it to do a lot of stuff. So thank you for watching this tutorial. But before we go, let's add some balloons to it, right? Everybody likes balloons. Okay, so let's add some cool balloons to it. So it's going to be st.balloons. I hope I spelled it well today. Hooray. Hope I spelled it well today. I made a mistake today too. Balloons. One, two, three, four. Let's make it a button. So st. So if st dot button. Thank you. Thanks everyone for your time. Streamlit is awesome. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. The button did not come because of the location. Perfect. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and please don't forget to subscribe and share. See you in the next session. And in case you have any question or contribution, you can just put it inside the comment section so that everybody can benefit. Thanks a lot. See you in the next video. Stay blessed. Hooray!